Huh. Are we live? Hello, hello to everyone. If you are here, just let me open the chat box. Just a second. I'm hearing myself, so it's a little bit inconvenient. Faded fishing. Hello, hello. Can you just let me know if you hear me well? And I have to check what is it that I'm hearing myself talk. Okay. Oscar, Alia, hello everyone. Thank you, Rafael, for joining in. Wow, thank you everyone. What time is it? Where you're at currently? 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 5 p.m. Okay. I'm happy that I'm not occupying your late night. I wouldn't want to mess up your sleep schedule. It's morning where I'm at, so from me, good morning. Okay. If you have some questions, guys, feel free to shoot. I will just share a small insight that I've had, so I can open up with this insight, and you can already start sending your questions if you have some. I was thinking about how we have to be careful not to get caught up in our routines and rituals, because one of the most important parts of my routine is my daily walk and gratitude practice, where I like to list all the things that I'm grateful for. And recently I had a thing where I needed to talk on the phone with one of my loved ones, and I noticed myself getting a bit frustrated because it was early in the morning and it interrupted my gratitude practice. And then I realized, okay, this person is actually someone that I'm mentioning in my gratitude practice. So every morning I'm expressing gratitude for this person, and now I'm feeling a bit frustrated that this person is interrupting this practice. So I would just say, especially with these mindfulness practices, never confuse them as something being more important than action, than real life action, because in this particular situation, the action of me talking to this person was the greatest act of gratitude, because if I'm grateful for them, then I should give them my time. So this is something that I wanted to share. I express gratitude. Well, I usually speak out loud because I try to go for a walk somewhere where there isn't a lot of people, so it's not like I'm shouting, but talking to myself and listing things and people in my life that I'm grateful for. We have already a question from Stavros. I have direction in mental and bodily discipline, but I feel like I'm living my life without some big overall purpose, like winning a title or making a large contribution to society. Thoughts? I would first say, recently I had a conversation about this with Kyrie, one of the members of Sisyphus Society, and we were talking about how something along these lines, and I would say, now this is how I position myself, and you can take it as something valuable or not. I position myself inspired by Viktor Frankl, where he says that it's not the meaning of life where you find something ultimate, or let's say it's rarely that you find something ultimate, the meaning of your life, the purpose that is going to last during the whole duration of your life. It's at this moment in your life what is the meaning of your life. And he has that analogy of you cannot ask the chess player what is the best move, like the greatest chess player. You cannot ask him what is the best move because the question doesn't make any sense. You can ask him what is the best move when the pieces are all in these positions. So at this, when the board is laid out in this way, what is the best move? So I would say that you're putting too much pressure on yourself, and this is probably good. I think a lot of people that are here that follow my page and interested in similar topics encounter what you encounter, Stavros. So in some way, I think it shows that you are not going through life mindlessly, which is good. And on the other hand, it shows that you're putting too much pressure on yourself. I can relate to that. So I would say, instead of looking for that larger something that seems to be great, like you said, the example of winning a title or making a large contribution to the society. First, it takes, trust me, every single day I'm still going through the process of realizing that this contribution to the society is small things that you do. But it's one of the most beautiful realizations that you can have in your life. Really one of the most beautiful. I can give you an example. If we are talking about contributing to the society, okay, I have a big following. I think it's pretty big on Instagram, and I receive daily DMs and get overwhelmed with messages from people. And sometimes I think, is it possible that 145,000 people are, or I don't know, yeah, something like 145,000 people. And I really try hard not to boost my ego with it. But I can tell you from personal experience, you know what is the greatest sense of accomplishment and what you say contribution to the society. At the end of the day, it's interactions one-on-one. So I would argue that you can make as much contribution to the society as me, or I don't know, someone. Now forget about me, I was just giving an example. Anyone else. And it's not saying this just to make you feel better. I can tell you from experience. If I don't know if we can get someone who has reached millions of people, yes, it is something special. But at the end of the day, the greatest impact is those one-on-one interactions. So I would say that you can make an immense impact on the society just as you are right now. So a little bit reframing, maybe, and just to come back to that analogy of chess move, I will say, what is the purpose of your life right now? What is that move right now? And listen, I would say sometimes that is going to last for a year, sometimes going to last for a couple of years, and for some people maybe it will last their whole life. But I think really that everyone would benefit from reframing it in this way, that it's not the meaning, the one meaning, it's what is the meaning of your life right now. We have Tony. Tony, thank you for joining and thank you for the question. What do you define as masculinity? Which model a young person should follow? That's an interesting question, but also it's a question that is really relevant today, isn't it? It's a question that a lot of people, both men and women, are discussing and care about. I can tell you what I think I don't want to claim that I have the definition of masculinity. I do believe that something we have to acknowledge is that there has to be a sense of toughness, but I don't want to say it doesn't have to be toughness that you are a prototype of a tough guy, that people are scared of you. I would say toughness in a more broader sense. So just want to start from these a bit more traditional notions. Toughness in the sense that you know how to be tough with yourself. If we are going to say that a trait of masculinity is taking responsibility, taking on responsibility, then to take on responsibility, sometimes you have to be tough on yourself. For example, my best friend, he has recently gotten married, and he is now going through, I'm not even sure how to say it in English, he is becoming a lawyer, and there are a lot of things on his plate. Okay, a lot of things on his plate. Building, setting up their home, him still working but also studying to progress as a lawyer, and beginning the family life, and he has to take a lot of responsibility. And I'm not in any way diminishing or dismissing the responsibilities of a woman in this situation, but I think there is something to be said about masculinity being that you try to take the heavier part of the load, that you try to be the person who is asking a lot of yourself and asking of others respect, and first of all respect and love if you are also giving that love, but not asking of others as much as you ask of yourself. I do believe that this is one of the traits of masculinity. Now, I mean, it will take hours to discuss everything about masculinity, but I want to say a couple of more things before I reply to others, so please, others, bear with me. I would say that masculinity, you know how I have realized that depending on the culture and the way someone was brought up, we need to talk about it differently, because you know what I would say, when people talk about that like stoic appearance of not showing emotions, at least initially, or some people say never show emotions, and so, it is for a reason that somehow that always appears when we talk about masculinity, and when we see masculine fictional characters. You will see that the masculine fictional character in all across myths and modern fiction is usually like the hyper masculine guy is the one who is a bit quiet, not showing off emotions. But here is the thing. Where the myth of where masculinity started, like the greatest warriors in myths, in ancient myths, they cry. Let's acknowledge that for a moment. Like the greatest warriors cried. So we have, I don't know how and why, oversimplified the idea of masculinity being no emotions. I do agree that's the way I was brought up. Save those emotions for people that matters to you. So you find your measure, but I do believe that outward appearance amongst people that don't know you, that there is a dose of masculinity to them not being able to see your emotions. Also, you can also take that too far, but I think that if you get trapped into this idea that masculinity means never showing emotions, first, we are wrong, because through history we have been shown that strong men show emotions. But how to put this? It's not just that you are when we arrive at that point of talking about emotions, it's, and maybe a lot of people will disagree with me, I think we come to the point of realizing, okay, there is masculinity, there are some things that's counted as masculine, and then hopefully we want to progress toward being a full human. So I appreciate everything about masculinity, I appreciate traditional masculinity. I was brought up in that way, so I know to appreciate it. I've seen the good and bad sides of it, but you will find few truly great thinkers talking about becoming a real man. They will talk about becoming a full human being, full human, whole human. They phrase it differently, but you have to, you are hoping to arrive at the point where you are embodying all that a human being can embody, not just masculinity. I know that you asked about masculinity, and you said, what do you think about sex as a young man? Is my virginity something I should closely guard? Ooh, that's I mean, it depends. First of all, if it depends on your religion. If your religion asks of you to wait, I'm not. I haven't been in that position, but I would say if that's the case, and if you find fulfillment in your not religion, in your faith, I would say it's important if it's a real faith. But other than that, I would say, you know what I would say, really, okay, and I just want to acknowledge that we have asked about temptations. Is it Jesus or is it really pronounced Jesus? And we have more, so I will not delay the stream. So regarding sex, okay, I will put it like this. I mean, I don't want to. I think it's not. I don't see it as good manners for me to talk about a lot of my experience, but I will say it like this. You will, if you are a person who is not just completely shallow and superficial, you, whether you're a man or a woman, I strongly believe that you cannot get a sense of fulfillment from often having casual relationship that involves sex. I not believe. Let's say that I know if you have any sense of depth to you, and you, Stavros, obviously have a sense of depth to you because you're asking this question, you will not find what some people, and it's usually men, claim that you will find. You will. It's going to be such a short-lasting pleasure. But on the other hand, what I would say is, if you're too careful about going into the opposite direction, and, like you say, closely guarding your virginity. I mean, I'm not now saying that you shouldn't. I'm just putting it. If you go too far to the other extreme, you can find yourself in a position where you want to have some sort of adventure, let's say, or want to have physical contact with some people, but you pass on those chances for maybe some passion to develop because you are waiting for the right moment, And then what I am afraid happens, especially for a man, is that maybe somewhere along the line, let's say you are 30 something years old, and it hits you, and you feel like you've missed out on a lot. And let's say that at that point you are with already with your wife. I'm not saying it will happen to everyone, but I think it is a sort of a danger that it happens. You feel like you missed out on a lot, and then at a wrong time you want to make up for it. So my advice would be, I cannot tell you not to guard your virginity. I would say just try not to go into either of the extremes. I don't go into either of the extremes, because the extreme of tracing to have sex with as many different women as you can will not bring you satisfaction, but that's something you probably already realized. And the opposite being if you restrict yourself. So if you and you have the self-awareness to say, okay, I want to engage with something with this person, but I'm waiting for the one. Just be careful. Maintain the self-awareness to see if you are later going to feel like you missed out on a lot. I will answer. Okay. I just want to second what Oscar Herrera said about Carl Jung's aspect of masculine is good. I think I definitely agree with this. And also what he says about becoming a full, about whole. I think he says whole human being. So that's it. Is it Jesus or is it pronounced Jesus? I mean, sorry if it's a stupid question, but I'm curious. How do you work through temptations? I think one of the first thing is to limit your access to that temptation. That is really something where, let me give you an example. We have to give ourselves the competitive advantage. You know? There are such things as website blockers today. I mean, if someone is struggling with, including myself, with social media scrolling or maybe visiting certain websites, whether it's adult websites or it's just I don't know, maybe some news websites that gets you stuck in the loop of consuming political media. There are, I'm just giving an example. There is such thing as website blockers. So that is an example of restricting your access to that temptation, or at least making it more difficult. I would say that's a big step where you will find that a lot of things that we see as an addiction, you will find out that it's not really an addiction. I love peanut butter, you know. I just cannot have, I always give this example, I cannot have peanut butter in my home because I'm not capable of eating one spoon. I will, every single time when I buy peanut butter, I will finish the whole jar that night. And I'm not exaggerating. Limiting my access to peanut butter is simply not buying it, not keeping it at my home. So now, you know what would be problematic? Problematic would be if at 2 a.m. I go out of my home and and trying to find a store that is open to buy peanut butter. So then you see, okay, I have a problem where limiting the access and setting up a barrier is not enough, because I'm still going out of my way and investing effort into getting access to this temptation. So I would say, and follow up, and let's do a follow-up on this. Jesus, maybe it's Jesus. Let's do a follow-up on this. Review the temptations in your life. and see how you can limit access to them, and after a week or so see if just limiting your access was enough. Alia says, plus remember that after falling to a temptation you will always feel like shit. I think that's true. I think no one has ever like given into the temptation and later felt like, oh, this was good. I think that never happened. Okay, how to get out of a seemingly inescapable loop? Sam, Tram, sorry for not knowing how exactly to pronounce your name. I always find myself saying and feeling strongly that I just haven't tried hard enough. How do I know I really tried my hardest? Or am I just tricking myself? Ooh, this is a really interesting question, really good question. You know what I would first ask you, how do you know that you are not trying your hardest? First, is there some evidence? Is there some evidence in the real world, in form of results that show that you are not giving it your hardest? Are you constantly failing, or maybe not failing, but not reaching the results quite like the level that you want, and then you are honest with yourself enough to say, I didn't try my hardest? Because that's something painful, but it's an extremely useful experience to have when you don't receive the results that you want, and you are able to say, this is not because I was not lucky, this is not because this wasn't meant for me, this is because I am aware that I didn't put enough effort into this. So if you have had those experiences, I know very well how uncomfortable they can be, but they are also useful because I see it as training yourself to be able to notice the level of effort you are putting in. But when you say it, and when you started by saying it, that it's a seemingly inescapable loop, I have to be honest that it's a bit difficult for me to imagine you both having the level of self-awareness to perceive that you are not putting in enough effort, and then you not putting in enough effort, that like being an inescapable loop. I'm not saying it can happen. I'm saying for someone who is able to articulate, like you articulated your issue, for someone who is able to articulate, I wouldn't write off the option that you are engaging in self-sabotage in form of putting yourself down. But I would first look around for the results of your effort. Have there been any results? What do those results tell you? Maybe try starting with that, because you said now also, or am I just tricking myself? But okay, just to, you know what I would also say. One thing that I would highly recommend to everyone is, you know, that idea of don't work harder, work smarter. I used to rage against that idea. I mean, I don't talk about it often, but maybe I will make another video. I'm not really a big fan of that idea, because I think if we are focused on work, if we start any journey with this idea in mind of work smarter, not harder, did you ever figure out how hard is your heart? So where is this comparison, smarter, not harder? So what I would, for everyone that I care about in my life, and I care about all of you, I would, for anyone that I wish them any good, I would say, have something in your life where you allow yourself a period of time where you allow yourself a period of time where you go all out, where you go all out, where it's obvious that it's not sustainable. Okay, so you are clear with yourself. Okay, this is not sustainable. This is not a routine that I can maintain. But I want to see what are my capacities in terms of putting out effort. Not my capacities in terms of intelligence, talent, creativity, problem solving. No, what are my capacities in terms of putting out pure effort? And then, okay, you know this is not sustainable. You will feel tired. You will at moments feel sick of it, and of course you have to already negotiate with yourself where you stop. Is it something time-based or result-based? You have to negotiate with yourself, okay, this is going to last 3 weeks, or this is going to last until I finish. Maybe you're going to go through a 1,000-page book that you are not just going to read just to get through the pages, but you are going to focus on it. So anything, so either time-based or goal-based, and you know when you are done with this. So to put this all-out effort so that you know what your heart is. So then we can talk about harder and smarter, sorry, and then you, my friend, can also, maybe you have already done this, I'm not sure, but then you can know in the future where is this in relation to my capacities, you know, because I have to say I find myself in a good position. I mean, good, it's not always comfortable, but I know where is this for me, because I have had this period of time where I have went all out, and every single night my eyes were hurting and my head were hurting from reading and writing. So now I know, okay, this is definitely not, I'm not even near my limits, but okay, I'm putting a lot of effort in. But then maybe a couple of months ago I have noticed myself that I am not even 1/3 to where my limits are, and then I start feeling uncomfortable. Then I say to myself, okay, this is now betraying myself and my capacities. Going all out, not sustainable, in order to see what happens if we put out pure effort. It will cost a lot, but it will give insight into what is hard enough. Thank you very much for this advice. You really summed it up really well. You know, I'm now going to actually take a screenshot because you summed it up really well. I went on a rant and you really have helped me. Oscar says, I'm expecting to be a father this year. Wow, amazing. Congratulations, my man. My own father is someone I do not want to emulate. Any readings you have come across regarding fatherhood from a philosophical point? I have to say that nothing comes to mind initially from a philosophical standpoint, you know, because Oscar, I want to think that I want to just make sure that we understand each other, because we could list a lot of philosophical writings that generally talk about being a good human being, being a decent human being, navigating the world well, but we want something that is more focused on fatherhood. I mean, I think I'm guessing that's right. Because you know what is the first thing that comes to my mind? The first thing that comes to my mind is finding a good novel that represents a healthy and maybe dynamic, but that represents fatherhood, father-son or father-daughter, doesn't matter, dynamic, but most of all fatherhood. You know, I have to say that that first thing that comes to my mind is finding a good novel, perhaps. So I'm now trying to think. I wouldn't allow myself now to give a non-fiction, like philosophical recommendation. But Oscar, I remember you. First of all, I know that you are one of the OG followers of Recovering Overthinker. So I will not forget to think about this, and send you any recommendation. You know, I'm actually going to talk with my friend, the friend that got married recently. You know, he is someone that I have received a lot of insights around these things, around family oriented life. So I promise you, I'm really going to think hard about this, because some things that come to my mind are more, again, more masculinity, not precisely fatherhood. Okay, we have a recommendation here, maybe Eldridge, The Untamed Man. I have heard about John Eldridge. Is he the writer of Fire in the Belly? I have heard about him. Jesus, thank you for taking the time to send out a question. If I have helped you, always know that you have helped me equally. Okay, we have, so the Untamed Man emphasizes on the importance of the necessity of two parents with masculine and feminine energy, and what it means to be a father. Ooh, wow. This is an amazing book recommendation. Wow. Okay. How amazing is this? No, I have to say I'm happy. I'm even more happy that we received a recommendation from someone else, because it shows that it's really not. It can never be about one person. I think I'm just fortunate enough that I was consistent enough and maybe crazy enough to constantly share things online to build this platform and audience, but it's never about one person. So by far we will get the best value when we interact with each other. So I love that someone other than me gave a recommendation. But I really promise, Oscar, that I will go through my book archive to see if some books were marked as having those insights, and also talk with my friend, who I believe can maybe provide some good recommendations on this. But this is something that I would really keep in mind of fiction, fiction, and because, how to put it, I have talked about this recently. Sometimes having something laid out in precise rules or steps or concrete advice, it is valuable, but not as valuable as seeing something in the context of a story, because we are meaning-making creatures. We are storytelling creatures. So when you see something in the context of a story, you, first of all, the pieces of wisdom inside, you can see how they play out in life. So even though it's not real life, it's life. Example being, let's take an example. Okay, traditional masculinity. Again, we come back to this masculinity so often. But the movie Gladiator. you don't have to be you cannot be a gladiator. You don't have to be a professional fighter. You can be a man living any type of life, but you can very well see in that movie the ideal of masculinity, like maintaining his dignity, persisting on what he believes is his purpose, not not going out, not straying away from his path, and not going against his values in order to attain his goal, which in his case was the revenge, but still not breaking his core values in order to attain his goal. So I'm just giving an example of, you can see in this story the ideal of traditional masculinity. You could even say stoicism, and because I know that we also have, of course, females here. I don't want to neglect and just masculinity. We are in movie Gladiator. I'm sure that women like it as well, and that women can find a lot of inspiration in it. Wow. Ever since I followed you, I felt like an older brother is talking to me. Wow, wow. This is one of the biggest compliments that I can get, I have to say. Really one of the biggest compliments. I can just promise to try to keep that up, and also can tell you that as every older brother, I have many flaws. But I will try to be open about my mistakes so that others don't have to repeat them. Okay, so everyone, we have a correction. It is, the name of the book by John Eldridge is Wild at Heart. Okay, Wild at Heart. I think a lot of us will pick up, even those who are not becoming fathers soon. This book sounds like something valuable, just to prepare yourself, hopefully prepare ourselves for family life. I also feel like a wise Arab uncle father is talking to me. Thank you everyone for saying that. I don't really perceive myself as that kind of figure, that I'm some wise figure, but I do love the brotherly dynamic, the brotherly dynamic, something that I really love, and so it's a great compliment. And even though I'm not trying to pose as some wise figure, I do love that there is I hope, a sense of a genuine human connection, that I'm a real person. I'm a real person, not some flashy guru. And hopefully I will get to meet a lot of you. That's something that I have been thinking about. I really hope to meet a lot of you, and I've been thinking about slowly inquiring where a lot of my audience is. So maybe I could plan something. Make a plan on traveling to certain places to meet, or if my personal travel is taking me somewhere close by enough, then making a short detour. But that's something that actually it's not just an idea. It will happen. United States. I know a lot of you are in United States. I have the, how to say, some like stats about where my audience is. So I know that a lot of you are from United States. I have to say that something that really surprised me is, I don't know why it surprised me, so I have no idea why, but it was how many people from Central and South America, how many people follow me, and not just follow me, but actually really deeply engage in the content. Because that is, maybe the stats will show to you that numbers are deceiving. And this is advice for everyone who thinks ever about doing something public. Numbers are deceiving. Because I can, for example, maybe I can get a stat that number 3 country in terms of the percentage of my audience is UK, and for example, number 25 is Brazil, but I get on a daily level people from Brazil commenting, and I rarely see anyone, so this is not now these are not correct numbers, this is an example, and this is not a knock on the UK, please, I love my UK people, but I'm just pointing out that just random fact that I wanted to share with you. Central and South America, a lot of people, really engaged followers. And he definitely makes me want to take on more responsibility, not just in what he says, but what he portrays. Very stark, honest energy. Thank you, really this is... what you say now, I will take as responsibility to keep this up. I will really, I always like to point out I'm a deeply flawed human being, and those mistakes that those mistakes that I can share, I will share, and I have already been sharing. I will not. I don't want to share just some things that are from private life that are. It's how to say, it shows bad manners to speak about some things which are maybe distasteful, but other than that I am always, and even those things, who knows, maybe maybe one day, but I will try to, first of all, to take everything that all of you said as a responsibility to keep this up, and also to remain one of you. That's something that you can count on. Really, that's something that you can count on, that I will stay one of you. And we have a question, what nationality are you? I'm Montenegrin, I'm from Montenegro. Montenegro is a country in South Europe, some say it's Southeast Europe, really small country. Montenegro. I'm guessing a lot of people haven't heard about it. Actually, I'm curious if any of you have heard about Montenegro before. I'm actually curious about it. Oscar, I am planning on, I really don't know when, but it's simply a matter of time before I visit US for hopefully a bit of a longer tour. So I do promise to make it public and to all of you say where I will be at what time, so that we can hopefully plan something out, but cannot give you a precise timeline just yet. Okay, we found another toy. If some of you were on the first live that we did on my walk on the beach, I found a dinosaur toy, and now we have, you see, I'm not sure what car this is, but again we found a toy. The dinosaur was given to a boy at the airport. His expression was amazing. He couldn't believe that he is getting a toy from a stranger at the airport. Also, it sounds maybe, especially in today's day and age when everything is happening, a lot of weird things. When I say I gave the toy to a boy at the airport, his parents were there, so it wasn't something like I was a creepy stranger approaching a small boy. Okay, so we already have someone who, okay, we have two people who never heard about Montenegro. Yeah, Montenegro is an interesting country, really, really small. So we have like 600,000 people, so not even 1 million people in the whole country. Really, really interesting because such a small country with really interesting terrain. So you have the sea and the mountains start right away. So interesting geographical terrain, interesting history and culture, and of course, you know what, great food. And I shouldn't say, and of course, I should say, but interesting people. Interesting people for better and worse. People who are sometimes seem stuck in medieval ages. Montenegro is between Albania and Bosnia. Yeah. I had to. I mean, I knew that. Of course, I always know that they are our neighbors, but I was trying to picture it between. Yeah, that's right. Uh-huh. I just want to say this about Montenegro, and then I will answer the question about relationship. Is it former Soviet Russia? It's not former Soviet Russia. It is a former Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia was a communist country and consisted of five countries, and then it fallen apart. So Montenegro is one of those countries. All of those countries were previously independent countries. Then they united in Yugoslavia, communist country, and then it fell apart. But it was never part of Soviet Russia. Yeah, I have the same thought process of when you find something and you think about how did it get here, who lost it. Yeah, I go through the same thought process. It is something to make you, it makes you also, like you say, present, because you are more focused on your surroundings. We have here question. What would you say are the essentials for building a healthy romantic relationship? I'm kind of messing up a lot. To be honest, it's my first serious one. Okay, I'm also inviting anyone else, and especially we have Oscar, who is about to, who will become a father soon. So obviously he has a successful romantic relationship. So again, I'm inviting also others to write something that they think would be a valuable advice. But I would say, okay, this is how I see it. I would say the respect. We sometimes forget that respect is okay. I believe respect is maybe the main thing, because we talk a lot about passion, about attraction, about seduction, but I think we completely overlook the aspect of respect. And what I mean is respect for the other person and respect for yourself. So also recently in Sisyphus Society we were talking about this, and I said when it comes to male-female dynamics, or even male, female to female, anything that's up to you, but in terms of still not being in relationship, so the part of seducing, let's say, and the pain of being rejected, we were talking about these things, and I said, I mean, if people approach with having respect and dignity as the priority, again, respect for themselves and the other person, maintaining their own dignity and not jeopardizing the dignity of the other person, I think then you cannot go wrong. That is, again, I believe even before the relationship itself starts, because then if relationship doesn't start and you have shown respect and have maintained your own respect, it can sting a little bit if you've been rejected. But if you can move on from that knowing, okay, I showed respect for myself, didn't go out of my way and abandon my dignity to try to be with this person, and also I have shown them and given them the respect they deserve. Okay, they rejected me, but I move on from this with a clear mind and heart. So I think it's the same in relationship. And again, listen, I want to also be clear. I want also to be clear here. I have made some horrible mistakes in my relationships. I don't want to pose as I'm a perfect boyfriend. So I'm in a relationship now that is healthy. But I just want to point out that advice that I'm giving, I'm not posing as someone who is the embodiment of a perfect boyfriend in a healthy relationship. I just try to be. But the advice that I want to give you is respect now in relationship. Respect in relationship if you are, first of course, if we are talking about faithfulness. What is faithfulness if not about respect? Because even if love disappears and passion disappears, we have here. Wow, we have Baka. Sorry guys, I'm going to switch to my native language for 1 second because I think this is one of my great friends who has joined this. Baka, ako si to ti, onaj telefon mi je odavno crkao, morat ću da tražim nekome da mi pošalje tvoj broj, pa ti se javljam sa novog broja. Ljubim te I volim, brate. Sorry everyone. Sorry everyone, but this is one of my great friends, a person who showed me a lot of support that I had to address in my own language. Please, sorry. I want to say to get back to the relationship. If we are talking about respecting again yourself and the other person, if you lead by that, because let's say you say you are messing up, is it arguing, fighting, not being able to find a compromise, temptations of staying faithful or having other options, or any kind of messing up? If you start with the idea, okay, what action, what type of behavior shows respect to the other person, while also I'm respecting myself. So I'm not going down on my knees and humiliating myself to show the respect to the other person. What type of behavior can I now exhibit? What kind of action can I take that will give the respect to the other person and show that, first of all, again, this is my philosophy of relationships. First of all, how can I, on a just human level, now we forget about passion and attraction, how can I, on a human level, show to this person that, yes, I care about you as a human being, not necessarily as a romantic sexual partner. I care about you and respect you as a human being. I think if we ask ourselves this question before all tricky interactions, it's really hard to make. It's hard not to know the right thing to do and to say. But okay, it's hard not to know. But then putting it into practice is, we are all human beings. So we get angry and we say something that we know we shouldn't say. We are human beings, so we do something that we know we shouldn't do. Let me know what you guys think. think. I mean, we have Oscar said respect is key. Be loyal to your partner, defend them, and the relationship. This is really good way to put it. Defend them and the relationship. Love your partner for who they are, not who you would like them to be. Wow, amazing. walk and talk in truth. Learn to communicate, learn to communicate your emotions, but do not let them overwhelm you. I have made my share of mistakes in relationships. I'm speaking from my experience. Own your mistakes if they are made. This is masculinity. Because before we talked about masculinity, of course, I'm not saying that women should not or do not own up to their mistakes, but I don't know. This just something about this. What Oscar now wrote speaks masculinity to me. Own your mistakes if they are made. Be accountable to your partner. Lift each other up. Bring out the best in each other, like the verse, as iron sharpens iron. Find out their love language and demonstrate it. Wow, this is something that I only recently learned, This is something that I really recently learned. Find out their love language and demonstrate it. Pay attention. While general relationship advice is great, but remember the relationship is unique, so treat it uniquely. Wow, this is what I've been saying. This is what I've been saying. We have to, the value and wisdom is in group interaction, not just one person being a talking head. Find out their, I would recommend to everyone to screenshot this, or to take notes or anything, any way you want, because this, what Oscar said, what's interesting is this about finding out their love language. This concept was unknown to me. I just thought love is love, expressing love is expressing love. There is, because I come from a specific culture, most of all of my serious relationships were coming with women from that same culture. Only interactions with, and let's say adventures with women from different culture were casual, so there was no really love language. And it was only in my current relationship that I realized that different people, okay, it's not just about culture, it's different people, but it just happened so that I met people who had that same love language. And I do feel there is also something about how culture influences that love language, but I have realized that not everyone. Okay. Gary Chapman's The 5 Love Languages. Wow, okay. This is something I'm also screenshotting. Thank you for this. So I have to say, really, that it's something that I recently only realized that it's worth paying attention to, and not worth paying attention. It's something that is absolutely necessary to think about and to acknowledge as a important component of the relationship. So thank you for this, Oscar. Oscar, you really who knows how many of us you saved with these insights and these pieces of advice. I have a question. Do you meditate? You immediately remember Oscar's family when being asked about relationship advice. Very fast thinking in a calm manner. And it goes to show you make an effort to include others. I do meditate. I would not say it's definitely not regular. I do have periods of time where it's regular, then periods of time where I don't. I would say that in terms of meditative practice, even the walk and the gratitude is, for me, sort of a mindfulness practice. I do understand that it's not the same as meditating in silence and letting your thoughts, not trying to direct them. I understand that that's not the same, but just I think you will find that for different people at different points in life, different mindfulness practices are more or less useful. And when it comes to me remembering Oscar's family, what is one thing that I can say? I hope my brain is staying healthy, and I hope that I'm doing enough to keep it healthy. But I would say that one talent that I had since I was a kid, and also my friends know about it, I can pretty much keep a track of the conversation, so I can go backwards and replay everything that we talked about. That's something that I always had. Maybe it's a sort of a talent. Maybe I didn't understand that I was always supposed to do this, to have these live conversations, because that's something that really I can remember, because maybe it's talent, but maybe it's also because I want to say because I care. And this is not, wow, I am such a good human being, I care. I think I just genuinely am interested in people, and now I'm in a position where I'm talking a lot and you are writing, but actually I would say that I'm a better listener than speaker. That's something really I enjoy listening to people. Thank you, Teren, for the support. And we have a question. This is a good challenge. Didn't get it in the context of owning up to our mistakes. Masculinity means both in men and women. I have to say that this is, I don't want to put these words into anyone else's mouth. I expressed that the first part of owning up to your mistakes and I just want to make sure, okay, own your mistakes if they are made, be accountable to your partner. That's what Oscar said, and I just expressed that for me, I immediately related to masculinity. You know why? Because again, it is accountability. So I'm not now letting off the hook and saying, oh, women don't need to own up to their mistakes in relationship. Far from that. I just think this is a good point, like masculine and feminine energy, masculine and feminine being in every single human being, both masculine and feminine. I think that this masculine is, as we say, like setting up the order, more of a structure. So when we talk about accountability and owning your mistakes, I personally, maybe I'm completely wrong, I relate it to this, like structure, order, and with that then I relate it to masculinity. So I do think, as you say, it's in both men and women. But let's say that I relate it to masculine energy purely off of personal feel. I don't have anything to back that up with. Yeah, as Oscar says, owning mistakes is a human action, not exclusive to either gender. Be accountable and you will grow as a person. I couldn't agree more. I want to get into reading Nietzsche. There are a lot of videos saying different material to start with. What do you think would be an ideal way to start with his work? The simplest way to answer is that I have a reading list. It is free. This is now not something like me promoting, because it's free, and just now me trying to list all the books and to give you context here would take up a lot of time, and I wouldn't do it as well as I did it there, of course, because that was written carefully, and now I would be kind of improvising and going on side rants, because I could tell you a lot about each book. So I suggest that on Instagram there is, in my bio there is a link, and there is a Recovering Overthinker reading list, and you can download it for free, and there is a section about Nietzsche where I give context, because it is tricky, but I give what I believe, couple of books like to start with, and then from that, when you start, then you can kind of play around. There is not really a strict order of books, but I give my personal opinion and also context around each book. Owning mistakes also goes against being a victim, because in the moment you point your finger towards something or someone and give them the blame for your misery, you also give them power over you. Couldn't agree more. And this is, first of all, you really phrase that well. You put it well. Second of all, This is something that I like and would like to talk about a lot, to keep talking about it, just to find a bit more compassionate language, because sometimes I understand that I come off as really having no sensibility for people, because when we talk about this being a victim, I get a little bit riled up, because I think all of us have experienced at some point in our life feeling that we are victim, and the feeling sorry for yourself. So I think what you said is really important, that as soon as you start owning up to your mistakes, you are already almost completely out of the way and, let's say, cleared of danger of becoming a victim in your life. So that is. It's a really good insight and really well put. Oscar is recommending Twilight of the Idols as a good way to start. Twilight of the Idols is an amazing. It's good because it's in aphorisms. So I don't know what Oscar would say, but Nietzsche in some sense is a really challenging writer. He's really challenging and not easy to read at certain times. Scholars who have studied him for decades sometimes are not sure what he really meant. And yes, going into studying Nietzsche is a challenge. But on the other hand, it is extremely helpful that he is writing in aphorisms. Most of his works are written in aphorisms. The first one, Birth of Tragedy, isn't. And then you have in Genealogy of Morality and in Birth of Tragedy you have like sorry, not Birth of Tragedy, Beyond Good and Evil and Genealogy of Morality. You have those essays, but a lot, like most of Nietzsche's work is in aphorisms. So as challenging as he is, I would also say that actually considering his level of thinking and how groundbreaking in the world of philosophy his ideas are, he is not as challenging as he could have been. So, it's I'm not sure how to put it. It's quite an experience. Sometimes you think, wow, okay, this is really enjoyable. This is really enjoyable reading, and I'm flowing with this, and I'm able to follow him. And then, of course, you completely lose track of the point that he was trying to make. We have an interesting question. What's your plan after 5 years? 5 years. 5 years from now. 5 years from now. 5 years from now, most things that I am going to list are like personal things, family based. So I would like to have a permanent base somewhere, because now I'm living a couple of months here, a couple of months there. That's the reality of my situation, and I'm not really a fan of the nomad lifestyle. That's not really the type of person I am. Some of you have maybe read some of my writing on my personal situation, so maybe you have some insights on my Substack essays. But anyway, my situation is such that I don't have a permanent base. So one of the 5-year plans, I hope to have some place that I call home. That is not Montenegro. I hope to have a place that I call home, and I hope that I'm in a happy relationship or marriage at that point, hopefully. I mean, I'm kind of, how to say, I understand how unpredictable life is. I understand how unpredictable life is. So also, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys here watching this. I don't have some crazy ambitions in terms of, like monetizing the size of my audience and becoming this really. And again, I'm not saying that I'm a better person than someone who is trying to get rich. I really don't mean that I'm a better person. It's just that my life experiences have made me make a detour and not really care so much. So I would say that what is really, I have an ambition of being able at all times to buy a plane ticket from where I'm at to Montenegro, so that I know that my family doesn't suffer because of us being separated. My mother and my sister-in-law and my nephews, I want to be able to visit them at any moment. That is my material aspiration. Material aspiration is to know that in this modern world I can be financially stable enough to navigate it, because it has become a small world. So I want to take advantage of that opportunity, and maybe 50 years ago or 100 years ago, when someone moves to live on the other side of the world, that's pretty much it. They exchange letters sometimes. I want to be able to travel to visit them without that being like a big hit. That is not a 5-year plan. Hopefully that is less than 5 years, and having some place that I call home, and continuing to do this. In what form, I'm not sure, because I think as technology changes, I will adapt. But I'm not an Instagram person. I'm not a YouTube person. I think if this was 100 years ago, I would be trying to write columns for some newspaper, and then from that progress to interacting with people. So it's not really about me growing my Instagram or growing my YouTube. It's just me continuing to do this in a way that I will reach people. And this is who looks after your mother? My mother is, because my father passed away, my mother is alone. My mother is alone, and she has some close family members and friends, but in essence she is alone. So it's you can imagine anyone who cares about their mother, and especially when it's a single mother, you can imagine that hurts. But sometimes that's a difficult choice in life to make, when you leave a person who you love. Leave not as in ending the relationship with them, but leave as in moving away physically, far away from them, because that will allow you to have a healthy life, which will then bring them joy. So even though we are far away, it's much better than if I was living in Montenegro. We have a question: what is for you something you can do with minimal effort but grants you maximum results? A thing where by only doing a bit you get back a lot. This is how amazing questions. You guys really unbelievable what kind of questions you ask. What first thing that comes to my mind is walk. Really, I cannot explain. I think it will provide immense psychological benefits to everyone, but I'm not sure if everyone will love it as much as I do. But walking for me is, I cannot imagine something being, for me, I just on that level. Walk, minimal effort, just the psychological benefits of walking that I receive. I couldn't ask for more than that. And then, with that being like the morning gratitude practice is really a big part of my life. Really big part of my life. I don't talk about it too often because I'm maybe a bit too not cynical, but I understand that people are fed up with a lot of routines. Like, here is what I do in the morning. This is day number 1055 of doing ice bath every day, and this is day 3055 of me doing a gratitude practice. So I think maybe I'm completely wrong, but I often think of people are sick and tired of hearing about other people's morning routines. So I don't want to talk about it a lot, but for me, the gratitude practice is really, I cannot overstate what it does for me. But when you say, if I have to choose one thing, it would be just walking. I have a question. What do you think of the book, The Way of the Superior Man? I'm reading along with watching a lot of material about masculinity and being a man. What are the fundamentals of being a man according to you? I have to say I may be the only male internet creator in dealing with these topics who hasn't read The Way of Superior Man. So I have to disappoint you that I haven't read the book. I have heard a lot of good things about it. And so I have to, when it comes to the book, I have to leave it at that. I will admit one thing. That when I first heard about it, maybe 7 years ago, I didn't want to read it because of the title. And this is I would say Montenegro culture, and this is, or maybe my own upbringing, because when I saw that book, I was like, who is this guy? He is going to tell me how to be a man, how to be a superior man, the way of superior man. So I didn't. So I know it sounds ridiculous, but I also think there is some value in this stance, because, okay, this book is, I have heard really a lot of good things about it, but I would say to everyone to be cautious of books that teach you how to be something that you already are. So I heard someone say, and I agree with this, don't read books on how to be a man. Read historical or fictional accounts of men that you think are worthy of respect. I would agree with that point. So I'm not saying don't read any book, of course, because I have heard a lot of people gain value from The Way of Superior Man. But I would give priority to historical and fictional accounts, because you are at the same time, through a lens of a story, real life story or fictional story, learning about how someone embodied masculinity, but also, what you're doing? You're training your mind to find wisdom in the context of a story, not everything being given to you on a silver platter, as they say. And this is also what Nietzsche did. Nietzsche was not a systematic philosopher. In Nietzsche, a lot of things are, you will find it if you find it, what he wanted to say, what he wanted to give to you. If you find it, great, but it's not guaranteed. So I would say that when it comes to masculinity, yes, sure, there are good books, but really, I invite you to find historical accounts, fictional stories of men worthy of respect, and find the rules, the values inside the story. And when you say, what does it mean for me to be being a man, please, if I can refer you to the beginning of the live stream where someone else asked this question, just so that I don't repeat and that we can get through more questions. Sorry about it. Thank you for standing up for me and saying that it's a very personal question. It is a personal question about who looks after my mother, but I mean, I can go as far as to say what I have shared. Yes, and at the end of the day, it's a person that It's a person that is an inspiration or the inspiration for a lot of my writing. So it feels okay to mention her, because really a lot of my writing is actually it's having my mother in mind when I'm writing something. Nietzsche used to walk a lot. Yes, that's true. That's true. And he used to walk like for hours and hours every day. So I think we need to give him more credit. There is a whole movement of criticism of Nietzsche being like a weak individual physically. So how can he talk about power and strength? I think that actually gives him more credit. That gives him more credit because he is, what do people usually do? Like they engage in something that they are maybe missing or lacking in life, presenting it as not important, not valuable. He did the opposite. So it takes strength and integrity to talk about things that you don't like, about physical vigor. But it is a fact, recorded fact, that when he was not sick, when he was able to, he walked a lot. We have a lot of. Okay, just a second. I will just to read questions and then see in which order to reply. Okay, to get into my gratitude practice briefly, and we have an interesting, really. Or do you think the reason why men choose not to have kids is because they are not financially stable? How about our ancestors who had less but had more kids? Amazing question. I will definitely answer that one. Would you consider publishing a book based on your posts or expand them in original writings? When it comes to the book, because this is maybe easier and shorter to reply than these questions. When it comes to the book, it's an internal conflict of now there being a mass production of books, and there is a temptation at all times. When you have an audience, there is an opportunity. But I do want. It is of course my dream to do something like that. But I'm trying to find a balance between being patient enough not to jump now on it just because I have audience, I need to get out a book as soon as I can. Finding a balance between that and between waiting, is because I do want to be a person of action, and I want to be a person who is not just having ideas and not executing on them. But I'm trying to find balance because I also don't want to be the person of, okay, now I have an audience and now let's just make something for the sake of getting a book out there. Okay, we have an amazing, Romina says, I partly learned how to be a woman person. I want to be from some of my favorite romance novels, which might sound silly. I don't see it as silly. I mean, that's something I've said at multiple points in this live, that we are neglecting the power of story to teach us. Not a book, but I like Man of Steel, the Superman movie. Superman learned from both sets of parents, balanced both masculine and feminine aspects of himself, and found strength in both. Just my thoughts. Wow. Okay. I think I have watched it, if it's the more recent one, like in 2000s. So I cannot quite remember, but this is an amazing example. Where are the superheroes of those times? Where are the superheroes of those times? I feel the Marvel and DC universe kind of let people down in recent years. Because Superman is like, what was Superman? And I would like to also to, I would like to talk to some people a bit older generation from the US. Like, what was the phenomenon of Superman actually in the American culture? Now I have to get back to these questions. Okay, so gratitude practice briefly. I will tell you like this. My gratitude practice consists of just listing out loud things that I'm grateful for, and every single morning those are the same things. So I'm not trying to come up with new things to be grateful for. I'm just listing, first I'm listing some of the basic things, like me being able actually that I woke up and that I'm healthy, or if I'm sick that I'm functional, and basic human blessings of me being able to see and to hear and think, walk, run. And that's even not a basic human blessing. I mean, being able to run is a great blessing. Then I move on to people in my life. And I mean, I started off by expressing gratitude that the ability to love and be loved. And then I list people in my life that I'm grateful for. And it's first of all, I'm immensely blessed that I really have a lot of people to list. But I also extend my list onto some people that I'm not really close with anymore. But they have given me a lot of love and support previously in my life. So I do extend list beyond people that are just now really important in my life. And also then I express blessing for some major events in my life. Then I express gratitude. Then I express gratitude for all the problems, obstacles, and misfortunes. Reframe them as challenges. And also express gratitude for the ability, something that I believe is the case, for the ability to encourage other people to perceive their problems, obstacles, misfortunes as challenges. So then at that point, the gratitude practice is not anymore about me. At that point, the gratitude practice consists of expressing gratitude of all the different ways that I am. Then it's all about outward. For the gratitude for the opportunity to influence other people, gratitude for in the future being able to extend that influence, gratitude for seeing people actually engage in life, and I mean there are some private things in there, but you get an idea. So it's the same every single morning. It's the same. If there is some new event in my life, of course I will add it. But you know how it is. Actually, I would say that this repeating the same things every day is important, and this gratitude practice has trained me that if something new happens, I will not overlook it. You know. So if something new happens, of course I will stop for a moment to feel grateful. And now we have this interesting okay. I will answer this question about elderly, but I have just to respect that this. Oh, okay. Sorry, sorry if I will mispronounce your name, because it's spelled like Gorkem, maybe from Turkey, if I can guess. My mother loves Turkey. She visited a couple of times, and we visited one time together, and it's probably her favorite country in the world. Maybe you're not from Turkey. Sorry about if I'm completely missing. But do you find it difficult to adapt while traveling? Culture shocks and different cultures. Culture shocks. Yes, there are culture shocks, but I don't find them very difficult. Maybe because I am a person who is generally interested in other people. And I would say that I'm not really rigid. You know, I come from a rigid place. Montenegrin people find it difficult to adapt to different cultures, but I have always been considered by my family and friends and colleagues as someone who is a bit more, not really like a Montenegrin person, so conservative in terms of interacting with other cultures. So I don't find that difficult. You know what I find difficult while traveling is everywhere you arrive, you have to get to know your surroundings, and you have to set up a new routine, because one routine is not applicable to all places. So even if you change city, and I don't know, the place where you work is a different distance from where you live and where you work out. So it's the biggest challenge is having a routine, because I'm a person who enjoys routine. You know, I'm not, as I said, I'm not some wild nomad who is just living like a spontaneous life. I like routine. I like structure. So that's the biggest challenge. And then you also asked, do I think the reason why men choose not to have kids is because they are not financially stable? How about our ancestors who had less but had more kids? You know what I would say? Again, this is first great question. Second, this is a discussion for probably much more knowledgeable people than me to have, and in a longer time format. But you know what? I will say one thing. I will say that maybe it would be useful for us as humans, anywhere where we are, to start discussing this less in terms of battle between men and women, like feminism and toxic masculinity, and maybe discuss more about, because you will see this in Instagram comments, you know, there are not enough babies being born because of feminism. Then women say, no, it's because men are terrible, blah, blah, blah. I think it would be really useful, and you already touched on this with your question, I think it would be useful that we start looking at more in terms of culture and society, where we have arrived, a little bit less blame men and women as gender or sex, and start looking at what are our societal conditions and what are our values, because there is no doubt today in most countries it is terrifying to start raising a kid in terms of you thinking about what is going to take to raise them financially, what is it going to take, what it is going to take to raise them. It's for most people terrifying. But as you said, our ancestors had less, but had more kids. What were the values of those societies and cultures, and what are the values today? I think that's a big question. You know, that's a big question. What is set up as a priority? And I don't want now to say like everything was better before. You know, we are at fault for everything, and everything was better before. I don't want to sound like that. We have to be careful, you know, not to always bash on today's society and idolize and romanticize the history. But I think it's a multi-layered issue. So now I don't want to get into politics, but I would say that if you're interested in humans, if you're interested in family, if you're interested in philosophy, psychology, but I would put this in, if you're interested in being more human and learning how to be human and to navigate this world, I don't know how can we go through this journey without arriving at a point where we question the current system. And now I'm not coming to you, I'm some socialist, communist, you know, also two things that people equate that should not be equated, but I'm not coming from that position. I'm just coming from a position that even if you're not interested in politics and economics, if you're interested just in, again, being human and navigating this world and being mentally healthy, physically healthy, it's difficult not to arrive at at criticism of late stage capitalism, of consumer culture, because we cannot deny that that prevents a lot of people from starting a family, being overwhelmed by thinking, okay, I will have enough for the basic necessities of my kid, but will my kid be able to keep up? Because this is what we are doing, keeping up. You know what's that phrase? Keeping up with the Joneses, something like that. So it's not about basic necessity. It's about keeping up in today's culture. And I will be honest. It would be difficult for me if my kid cannot get that new backpack. I mean, I think I have progressed in that way and matured, and that I'm not really bothered too much with material possessions. But it is. I mean, maybe Oscar will say now, and maybe in the future he will share insights when his fatherhood journey starts. As deep of a person as you are, it is a challenge to constantly remind yourself that, okay, I cannot be bothered with trying to keep up with others. Well, the fact is that most people are not strong enough to say to themselves, okay, I don't have to keep up with others. I cannot bother myself and cannot get trapped into this. So I would say we have to start looking at it from a unfortunately, we have to touch on politics and economics and our societal conditions. So I cannot give a simple answer, but maybe we have opened a topic that we should do a live where we exclusively talk about family and why and how difficult it is today to start a family. Did I practice talking to elderly people and asking them anything before? I will be short here, unfortunately not. My grandfathers, I had an amazing relationship with them, but I wouldn't say that we had some really profound conversations. Maybe we had, and maybe I have absorbed some wisdom, but let's say that they passed away while I was just starting to get out of my late teens phase of caring more about my presence in the society than who I am internally. So unfortunately didn't, and after my grandfathers I really didn't get a chance. I did have with some colleagues, I do have to acknowledge it, with some older colleagues, and I feel grateful for them. And I extend a lot of love to them. So, sorry, I almost forgot. Yes, I did with some colleagues, but elderly, 15, 20 years older than me, 30 years older than me. Yeah. We have Oscar giving, a Superman question. His iconic status in American pop culture endures across decades due to his embodiment of hope, justice, and strength. Hope, justice, and strength. Resonating with generation as the quintessential superhero archetype. His unwavering commitment to truth and righteousness, remarkable powers, and relatable human struggles. His paradise is worldwide, symbolizing the timeless pursuit of heroism and triumph of good over evil. First, I want to say, Oscar, you have a really talent for expressing yourself, and second of all, what is interesting? For example, I like the anime and manga culture, and they have these morally gray characters, and they have maybe a lot more darkness and suffering than American superhero universes. But what is interesting, and with a lot of some manga writers that I appreciate, what they said, like, what is worst in this creation of modern myth is forcing profundity. No, maybe it's not real. Forcing depth, forcing complexity, because you have a character like Superman who is somewhat ruined if you want to go too far to make him more complex than he is. Now, I'm not trying to say that he is superficial or simple character. I want to say that sometimes you need someone who is just straightforward embodiment of, as you said, hope, justice, strength, righteousness. Sometimes you don't want too many different shades. You want someone who is straightforward embodiment of good. So I think that's a point why he is the ultimate symbol, and I'm not sure the current state of superhero and the universes and the modern myth. I'm not sure the quality of it. We have a question of also from a friend who asked about the family. Would you say not having a home and living like a nomad prevents you from fulfilling future goals like family? I have lived in Australia for most of my life and traveled for all my 20s and 30s. First, friend, I'm going to ask you we have to get some more insights from you, maybe not in this live, but you have to leave me a comment on one of my recent posts so that I know who you are, that that you share some experiences with us. Traveling all your 20s and 30s, I think, comes with a lot of interesting experiences and a lot of lessons. So I think you could have you have a lot of value to share with us. And when it comes to does it prevent from fulfilling future goals like family, I think maybe it doesn't prevent, because I have learned that there are no rules. I have met people who are like full-on family, living a nomad lifestyle, which for me seems so stressful and so burdensome. Full family living a nomad lifestyle, but then also I'm so many different scenarios. So you see actually how different ways of life are possible, and that you cannot be. Of course, you choose life for yourself, but you cannot be fixed and think that you cannot live like this or cannot live like this. Because I know how much my family is worried about me not having a permanent base and everything, and also me leaving my job back in Montenegro. But you learn that different ways of life are possible. So I want to say it doesn't prevent you, but I would say it makes it immensely more difficult to start a family. I would say, maybe today and the upcoming years and decades is going to be more easy, because as a traveling person or a nomad person, you will meet a lot of people who are in the same position like you and also hoping to get a chance to start a family. So I think it's going to become easier. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but I would say it makes it more difficult. Just I don't want to say it prevents. It prevents completely. So I would be interested to talk with people what they think. Do they think that nomading is a sustainable lifestyle? Because what I have seen, because I'm a member of some communities and groups on Facebook, just for the sake of getting information of different places about different places where I'm going, and like nomad communities, and it's not rare that a person makes a long post asking, hey guys, is anyone else dealing with feeling miserable? On paper I have lived such a cool life. I have traveled here and here. I have traveled half of the world or whole world, and I have had these adventures. You know, I have partied here, and I was riding the elephant here, and I was surfing here, and I was mountain climbing here. But when I come back home, I feel empty because I see people around me, my friends and my siblings, having stable lives with family, and I feel miserable, and I feel like all of my adventure amounted to nothing. It's not unusual to see a post like this. So I think I think a person can find a full fulfillment. Sorry, I'm now going on a side note from your question. So sorry about that, but maybe you will also find it interesting. I don't think no one can get a sense of fulfillment, but I would be, I would also be a little bit careful, and I would keep in mind that at the end of the day, humans are social beings with a need for community and stability in life. So I think that this nomading lifestyle is becoming such a trend that people are forgetting it has always been an exception. It has always been an exception. So I think it's kind of dangerous trying to create a full culture of people, like trying to make it a standard. So that's why I sometimes say, trying to say to people, if you are that person who is now living a conventional lifestyle, as if conventional has become like a bad word for some reason. If you're a person who is living a conventional lifestyle and you feel a bit overwhelmed by so many people sharing how they are traveling the world and saying like, oh, you need to travel the world and leave your job, I want to say to those people, please relax. Like you don't need even to have an adventure in life. Real, for your life to be an adventure, you don't have to travel the world. So I don't want to discourage anyone from pursuing their dreams and living the wildest life possible. I really don't want to discourage anyone, but also I want to say to everyone who sometimes feel, oh wow, is my life too normal? Because everyone seems to be this character traveling the world like a movie character. Your life is not too normal. I mean, you can make it an adventure wherever you are. Nomads are modern day explorers. Yeah, I mean, some are, right? I mean, you probably experienced it. There are some people that you will meet that are simply amazing individuals. Then there are some who have had the chance to travel a lot but haven't really gotten a lot out of it in terms of expanding their mind, but they can be said to be kind of explorers. We have a question from Tony that I broke up with a girl a few months ago as I felt like I wasn't in a stage where I was emotionally mature enough to reciprocate her love. I stand by my choice, but it's been so painful. Every day I wonder if I made the right choice. I just want to read it once again, what you the way you phrased it is really, this is the paradox. This is the paradox of you say that you felt like you were not emotionally mature enough, but the way you are expressing this is really mature. So but again, I don't. It sounds like a paradox, but it isn't actually. I think it isn't, because I think a person can be a mature person and even a wise person, but that their emotional maturity is not at the level where they are able to be a really to be a partner that the other person deserves. So I can see how that can happen. But listen, if you stand by your choice and you believe that you were not and you are not emotionally mature enough, painful, of course, painful, of course, and is something that you have to go through. But you also say every day, I wonder if I made the right choice. You know what is something that I would ask you to think about. But other than that, I would ask you to persist through that pain and then know that there is something on the other side of it. But I would ask you to think about this. This is a bit of a challenge, maybe not really comfortable, but we are here not to tap each other on the back, but to help each other out. So the way you express this shows that you are an intelligent and mature person. Because you have to be mature to even think in this way. Am I emotionally mature enough to reciprocate the love and care that this person deserves, and so on and so on. So you already have to be self-aware, mature, intelligent enough to think in this way. Okay, that is the first point. The next point is, okay, if that's the case, and you had that thought process, when do we become emotionally mature enough? Is it maybe that we decide to make a commitment and I am now going to make the effort to become emotionally mature enough maybe I'm going to make the effort to be the right partner for this person, and I'm going to emotionally mature in the process. Now I'm throwing questions at you to ask yourself, because I don't claim to have answers, because I will tell you 2 relationships in my life with amazing people I have ended for the same reason. One of those girls, we haven't talked in a while because I've been away, but whenever I meet her, we have a great interaction because she's an amazing person. But I ended those relationships for the same reason. For me, obviously, it was the right choice, because now I'm with a person that I love, that is for me the most beautiful person in the world, and it has given me more care and love than I could ask for. So then those were the right choices. But my challenge is this: are we, for some other reason, trying to step away from that commitment and then giving ourselves the excuse of, I'm not emotionally mature enough? I'm not saying that you are doing this. I'm saying this to ask yourself, because it will be useful for the next relationship, and it will be useful just to process what you're going through. The easiest thing, would be to say to you, it hurts now, persist through it, and with time the pain will stop, and you will find love and happiness again. And that is true, but so I wouldn't be lying to you, and that would be it wouldn't be easy in reality, but it would be an easy advice to give. This is a bit of a challenge because it brings you to question what you did, the choice that you have made. But I still would ask you to do that. I would ask you to have a conversation with yourself. Have a conversation of am I actually intelligent and self-aware and mature to the point where I'm able to provide myself with a good enough excuse not to commit. Again, I'm not calling you out and saying that you gave yourself an easy way out or an excuse. I'm really not saying that, because you sound like a sincere person, and you are definitely mature and intelligent the way you phrase this. I would just because if it happened 2 times for me, imagine how I felt the second time. I felt okay. So if it happened the second time now, when am I going to be emotionally mature enough? When? Maybe it's time for me to commit and to ask of myself to become the right person and mature in the process. Maybe it was a rant, but I hope there was some value in it. So I would the main point stands that the pain is something that you have to go through, and I urge you to find healthy outlets for that pain. And if you need escapism from the pain, let it be a healthy escapism, or at least make it not a self-destructive one, you know. I always have to say this to people, because you never know. When people say that they are in pain, you never know what they will reach for in order to relieve themselves of that pain. So I would say, if the pain persists, find outlet in some constructive activity, and not in unhealthy. And we know what is unhealthy escapism: different substances and self-destructive behavior. As Oscar said, learn from it and grow past the pain. Do a lot of self-reflection. Yeah, that's pretty much the point, that self-reflection is needed. Whether you have made the right choice or not, that's going to, you have to live out the answer. I really believe in living out the answer. Did you make the right choice? That is only only you can tell us that. You can tell us that in a month or two, or a year or two. You can tell us if you have made the right choice. And it is fully in your you are fully capable of living out that it was the right choice. Living out it in a way that you will find in the future partner, that you will be the right partner for them, and they will reciprocate, and then you will say, okay, it was the right choice. So I believe it is fully in your power to make it the right choice. That's it. Okay. We are running already 2 hours. Let me know if you have some other questions, because maybe we should end it just so that you don't get tired of me, because I want to do these lives more often. So I don't want you to get tired of me. Maybe better to do them more often, but not too long, so that we always have something to talk about. I really enjoy this, you know. I enjoy also making videos and writing. Everything has its own charm, but this is something special, you know. This is really something special, communicating with you in real time. Tony says the rant is very much appreciated. Over the past few months, I've been having dialogues with myself. A few different reasons I've tried to entertain. My negative self-talk might have taken over. Okay, so you have already had some self-reflection. Listen, if you think your negative self-talk might have taken over, and you have already engaged in self-reflection, you know what I have to take some accountability for the advice that I'm giving you, because as much as I want you to engage in self-reflection and ask yourself these questions that I have mentioned, I also don't want to encourage you to get stuck in your head. I don't want to. If you are a person who is prone to self-criticism, as I am, and a lot of people here are, maybe that's why we are connected on this level. maybe we have connected on this level, then I just want you to be careful not to get stuck in your own head. No, I really cannot give advice in terms of if you should just completely write that person off and move on, or if you should try to at some point again pursue that person. I cannot give that type of advice, but I just want to say, with having this, keeping in mind what I said about self-reflection, asking yourself these questions, we have to keep a balance, because remember this, what I said, living out the answer. So whatever happens, you are the one who is going to tell us if it was the right choice, and it's going to be based on how you move forward through life. That there was that thing that I made maybe a video or essay. I wrote an essay about how everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason, not because you are going to wait and the reason is going to be revealed to you. Everything happens for a reason because you move through life, engage in life, orient yourself towards a healthy, orient yourself with a healthy attitude towards life, take action, and then in the future you are the reason. So you say, okay, yes, everything was for a reason, and I'm that reason. The name of the channel speaks to me. It speaks to a lot of people, and I'm always happy to hear that. I'm also only 19, and this has been my first heartbreak. I think only time will tell if this ends up being the right choice. I'll keep you updated in a few years. Listen, I'm not saying it just to say it. When I like you will tell us, I genuinely mean that. I would like to know what is happening. And you being 19, I can tell you right away that the way you have expressed what's happening, you are displaying maturity. So I believe that now, from this, how you move forward, that you will move forward in the right way. Because the way you are discussing this, I have to tell you, look around yourself and tell me how many 19-year-olds think about relationships in this way. Not a lot. Really not a lot. So you are already at that point, which is of course always a blessing and a curse. Blessing because it will help you become a more complete human being, and at some point it will help you develop that real connection with someone. But on the other, when I say curse, a curse in a sense that it's sometimes exhausting, that you are thinking about things more than other people are, that you are questioning things more than other people are. So I'm not going to say, oh, it's so wonderful, We have to acknowledge that sometimes, like, the high level of self-awareness is not really something that you perceive as a blessing. Sometimes you perceive it as a burden, as a curse. So I want you to know that, but most of all, it is a trait what you displayed already. This maturity, and again, also you having the sensibility to think about the other person and yourself. I think in the long run it's going to show that it's something that will enable you to become a complete, full human being. Because we started this talk questioning what is a man, what is masculinity, and we said that we hopefully want to be full humans, not just men or women. So you are on your way. We have, if you see these cards, these are from my brother. Not by blood, but by something more important, and that's by by the life experiences and life shared together. Brate moj, volim te najviše. Najviše te volim, brzo se čujemo. This is my brother. If you see this name, Alexander. This is a person that is every single day in my gratitude practice, and someone who one of the most admirable people that I know in my life. Thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for amazing. You know how many questions I took a screenshot of. So because you ask amazing questions, and also not just questions, also the recommendations that you have given and some insights that you have shared. So thanks everyone. This was I cannot ask for anything more than this. To be honest, this is it for me in terms of fulfillment and enjoyment. I cannot ask anything more than this. The only way this gets better is if we are drinking coffee together. But maybe one day we will try to set something up, to drink existential espresso together. And that's it everyone. Thank you so much. Okay, we can wrap it up. I will upload this so you can, because some of you said please don't delete this. Of course I will not. I will upload it and it will be available to watch and listen. Thank you everyone. Thank you. Well, we will do it again. No worries. We will do it again and talk to you soon. To everyone who has shared some of your concerns, challenges, keep me updated. You know, I can't really keep up with all the DMs, but you know, it's good ways to reach me. Also, just to remind me in the comment section, and again when we do a live again, which will be latest next week. Just if you don't have time for the full live, just pop up and send a message, give a short update on what we have been talking about, how things are going for you, and that's it guys. We are ending it again. I cannot thank you enough. Just promise, I promise to keep it up and to always be one of you. Talk to you soon.